Okay, today we're going to talk about a few things. I woke up in a really shitty mood. I don't know if it's part of something to do with the depression or the diabetes or just my general asshole nature, but I woke up seeing red, and I'm borderline either going to spend the day being a pissed off asshole or go lay back down and be depressed and try to sleep all day. That's just what you deal with when you have depression. It's part of life. I might take a double dose of some medications and get too loaded to care, but that usually doesn't help either. So anyways, we're going to actually talk about something important today instead of just rambling on. And the first thing we're going to talk about is RV tires. Now, I don't know how well these are showing up on the clip. I have both tires on the front completely brand new. The ones on the back are a few years older, but they're very low miles. The other day I was watching a clip on the internet of a truck driver had his dash cam going when a large Class A had a blowout, and the guy made the common mistake of immediately letting off the gas. So of course he went into a ditch, rolled his motor home. Apparently everybody was okay, but I mean, how okay can you be when you've just rolled your house with everything you own inside of it? Hopefully they were vacationers and not full-timers, and hopefully they have good insurance. But yeah, if you get a chance, go Google motorhome blowout or motorhome front tire blowout or front end blowout. And after you've seen a couple of these videos, you'll understand why this isn't so important. Now, the first thing to keep in mind if you are traveling down the freeway in a large vehicle, whether it be a box truck or a motorhome, or I guess maybe even the same is true for vans, and probably the same applies to small vehicles, but little low-profile cars are a lot less likely to roll over. They also weigh a lot less, so they stop a lot easier. But so, let's say you're going down the road in your motorhome, everything's nice and fine, you're cruising along at 65 miles an hour. Suddenly you have a blowout on the front passenger side. Now, you're no longer nice and level, now you're angled down a little bit like this. Now, the first thing you want to do is this sounds crazy if you've never heard this before, but you immediately want to floor it. Put the pedal to the metal, give it as much gas as you can, because in doing so, you will lift the front end back up, putting a little bit more weight on the rear tires. Just like a motorcycle accelerating really fast is going to do a wheelie. With that extra little bit of acceleration, you're lifting up the front, which helps you to regain control. Now, you're only going to have one of your two tires on the front helping you to steer. Whichever tire blows, you're still going to have a serious pull to whichever side that is. But by increasing your speed until you regain control, you will not only lift it back up and get control, but then you can slowly decelerate and pull over to the side of the road. Like I said, the idea of giving it gas when you have a blowout, I know that may not seem right, but that's the preferred and actually the only real method of saving your ass in that sort of a situation. Of course, you always want to have your best tires up front. And this is another thing that people should be aware of when it comes to motorhomes, or any vehicles really for that matter. You want to have the right rating. Mine are all E-rated. D is usually good enough for motorhomes, at least the size I've always had. But you want to you want to make sure you have the proper ply and load range for your type of tire. You always want to have your best tires on the front, but sometimes there's road hazards, or sometimes there's just a defect from the manufacturer, which can cause your tire to blow out. Or in the case of my GoPed, sometimes the companies that make the tires change their formulation and the rubber becomes cheap and shitty and soft, and so you have to go back to your old original 15-year-old off-road tires like what I'm running now. I bought a pair of really nice Kenda street tires because I had always had great experiences with Kenda tires in the past. Kenda now makes garbage. I could wrap a piece of bubble gum around my inner tube and it would put more, it would create a stronger layer of protection between the tube and the street than the Kenda tires do. I don't know what happened with Kendas, but they're garbage. These tires on here now are Primo Duro Traps. They're the original tires that came on this scooter back in 2002, and they're holding up just fine. I had to take the Kendas off after picking up a nail or a tack or something on every single ride that I took. Eventually, I might try to put some kind of liners in there and put the Kendas back on, because that's slick, wide-angle street tire sure looks nicer on that GoPed, but this is more practical, and it's not going to have me walking home. I used to be a huge fan of the Kenda Tire Company, and now I hate them with a passion. I hate a lot of people today. I'm just in one of those moods. Did I already say that? I think I did. So anyways, I've gone off topic, as I do so often. Well, not completely off topic. We were still talking about tires, just not the tires I meant to talk about. Now, on motorhomes, RVs, oftentimes you can find tires that appear to have perfectly good tread on them. The tread can be nice and deep, and the tire can even look nice and shiny. Somebody could have just cleaned it up with 303, or sometimes even if you buy the tire directly from the tire shop. I've heard of Walmart doing this, and a few small tire shops in towns where they don't get much business. I've seen situations where they do the same thing. And what you want to do is look at the age of your tires, because like I said, oftentimes motorhomes don't have as many miles put on them, and what could appear to be a brand new tire may actually be 10 or even 15 years old. Back in 2000, they started adding this series of numbers onto all tires. It starts with DOT, Department of Transportation. Then there's usually 2 sets of other numbers before you get to the set of numbers that you're looking for, which is usually the 3rd set. The first 2 numbers indicate the week of the year that it was made. The second 2 numbers indicate the month of the year that it was made. So these tires here were made in the last week of June, the last week of January of 14, the 4th week of 2014, which is good. These tires should have a fair amount of life on them. I've still got some road hazard warranty type stuff going. If we look back here at the rear tires, as I said, these are a little bit older. This dot number looks a little different because all of the numbers after the dot have an oval around them. Usually just the last one will have the oval. These were made the 23rd week of 2011, which is approximately June of 2011, which means these tires are getting about 4 years old. A lot of people will replace at 4 years. The general rule is your tires are good for 6 years. It just depends on how far you want to push it. Because these are rear tires and they're high quality Goodyear Wranglers with a fair amount of tread left, I'm going to try to push these for the full 6 years, the rear ones. Because they're dualies, if I have a blowout, the other tire will keep me from completely, you know, dropping to the ground. And I have a full-size spare that matches these. So always check your tire pressures, check your tire age, have a full-size spare, Do whatever you want and don't let anyone tell you you can't.